Boy, this sweet baby stink thing is getting out of hand, ain't it? Gamers is going crazy worldwide. Got lists made of games that they done jumped in on and rewrote scripts and woke everything up. Let's check this out, shall we?
Financial crises, studio interference, corporate bloat, mass layoffs, substandard writing, embarrassing visuals, the destruction of legacy characters and franchises, and an unhealthy focus on the message. Now, you might think I'm talking about the self-inflicted problems facing modern-day Hollywood, but you'd be wrong, mister, because today I'm going to be talking about the video game industry and the crisis that's rapidly unfolding in it. But first, allow me to paint you a picture, dear viewer.
Okay.
Imagine for a moment that you're a major games developer, and due to years of corporate mismanagement and substandard hiring practices that prioritize diversity and inclusion over actual talent and creative ability, your studio is now bloated with excessive numbers of talentless idiots who all say the right things on social media but contribute nothing of value. Talentless idiots who all ability. Your studio is now bloated with excessive numbers of talentless idiots who all say the right things on social media but contribute nothing of value to your business. Now, you could do something crazy like start laying people...
By the way, I always do my toilet paper the first way. The toilet paper is closer to you. It actually rolls out easier. I don't understand why anyone ever would do it the other way. You know, there was a whole diagram going around a few years ago, and I don't know. It recirculates every once in a while. I don't know if it's real or not, but it was like, hey, discussion settled. This is the original diagram from the person that created the toilet paper roll hanger and all this other stuff. And it showed them do it the right way, which is the way I do it. That's right. Toilet paper closest to you. Let's get it.
Off and tightening up your operations so that it's more financially efficient. Maybe even bring in some talented people who know what they're doing. But no, the better solution here is clearly some of that.
Sorry. You know what else I hate about the other way? The toilet paper, like, doesn't exactly snag on the wall, but if you try to pull some, it makes it harder to pull sometimes. Like, it's ridiculous depending on how big the toilet paper roll is. It's more smashed against the wall. It's ridiculous. Maybe that was one that was built wrong or whatever. Yeah, it's still, even if it has friction against the wall, it's easier, closer to you to get the toilet paper. Especially if it breaks and then it's like up under. That's the worst part. The toilet paper will break sometimes, and then it's up under against the wall, and you're like trying to get it. But you get, no, this way, if it breaks, it's right there in front of you. Just grab it. Sorry. Back to Sweet Baby Stank.
That sweet, sweet ESG money that can tide you over until you can shart out the next buggy, overpriced, unfinished, barely playable piece of crap that's going to force players to use endless microtransactions and expensive DLC just to keep up with. I love the gaming industry today. But wait, there's a problem. All those big financial investment companies will only lend you their money if you can prove that you're good little boys and girls whose games correctly push the message.
I saw something earlier that was saying that it was kind of like I don't know if it's true or not, but basically like these companies would come to these blue chip companies or these big companies that are doing, that want to jump on the bandwagon. And they basically let them know like, oh, we'll check everything to make sure it's all DEI and ESG and kosher for that. It's going to be great. Well, we'll help you. What I don't get is if that is the spiel that we'll, double check your stuff and make sure it complies. And that way you can bring in all the minorities and you can bring in all the women and you can bring in all the LGBTQ community. Who in their right mind as a business owner, seeing what's going on all around the world, but specifically in America, with all this woke trash, would in their right mind hire them to do that? Wouldn't they say, why do we want your help? We saw what happened to Target. We see what's happening to Disney. We saw what happened to Bud Light and many other companies. Why would we want to put this trash in our products. Makes no sense to me. Has to be a tone deaf, out of touch, board, or business owner that would have companies like this write their stuff and wokeify them. That's my first time using it. Wokeify. Don't bite it. I coined woked it up, and now I'm coining wokeify.
So what to do? Well, in this case, you hire an outside consultancy firm to advise you on how to make your upcoming game more compliant. Let's call them, I don't know, Honeyed Infant Incorporated. Now, on paper at least, they sound like a pretty good prospect. A small but very specialised consultancy group that can come in and work closely with your dev teams to break down and analyse the story and design of new video games and advise on how to make them more emotionally resonant.
By the way, many of you watched my Spider-Man 2 game playthrough, my walkthrough, my gameplay, my live streams. And when I came upon the Mary Jane fight, it was in my head that I just didn't say nothing. I was like, oh, I hear everything she's saying. I can tell she's one of the toughest bosses. Oh, you have to fight her 4 times too. Very interesting. Especially the writing. That's what I paid attention to the most. It's like, oh, she's so... Oh, God.
Holistically inclusive, quintessentially effervescent, and other meaningless word salad buzz phrases that nobody understands. But man, they sure sound impressive. And even if you don't really understand what they do or why they're so expensive, you can at least say that you've worked with them and proven your loyalty to the message. So now all that wonderful ESG money can start flowing into your bank accounts. What you don't realise at the time, though, is that Honeyed Infant is a company staffed almost exclusively by hardcore political activists who either couldn't make it as actual game developers or never particularly cared about video games in the first place, have nothing even resembling creative imagination, and instead saw an opportunity to grift their way into an industry that never needed them in the first place. Right. Kind of like 100 years ago when people like Anita Sarkeesian were vaguely relevant for about 15 minutes and used their infamy to blackmail their way into major game studios. Nice dev team you've got there. Be a shame if someone was to spread rumours on social media that you don't care about representation and diversity. I guess you'd better hire someone like me to make sure that doesn't happen, eh? I mean, damn man, Neil Druckmann was so eager to impress her that he basically forced out the actual talented woman who'd been running the Uncharted series so that he could take over for himself.
Damn shame.
Like, ever wondered why a seasoned adventurer like Nathan Drake was suddenly getting his ass handed to him by this random muscle-bound arsehole who showed...
Yep, I remember that, and I was watching it, and this is around the time where the stuff started to irritate me, and I would make mental notes. And mental notes, and more mental notes. And I'm like, okay, I've heard guys talking about this. Okay, right. All started to make sense. But my antenna were going up around this time. Also went up, it specifically went up at Endgame. Don't worry, she's got help. That's when the antenna went up. To me, Captain Marvel was just a fluke. It was just a garbage movie that they were trying to push, and it just didn't work. However, they really went up, and I started watching for stuff. And I started to see more and more and more and more and more companies started to lose money, subscribers, and become destroyed in the stock market and financially. And they're still doing it, which is, insanity. Yeah, she irritated me. I don't like overly aggressive, combative women. I don't like that, So she was very, off-putting.
Showed up out of nowhere and was inexplicably stronger and better than him at everything.
And I hate that they're always trying to make black women like that. I can't stand that. There are plenty of feminine black women out there, okay? But our women, they always have to push, wearing a fucking crew cut, being tougher than any man that ever existed, and muscular and aggressive and just all this stuff. I hate that.
You go. Ever wondered why Last of Us Part 2 embraced the Disney approach to storytelling?
Put a ticket in, make it gay!
Ellie's gay, by the way. Ever wondered why it retconned the hero of the first game into a dumb, gullible, spineless sap who walks into ambushes that he never would have fallen for before and stands there like a fucking goldfish while his adopted daughter screams and berates him for the crime of saving her life?
Yeah, I remember, in the first game, like, he was aware of most things. You know, he was pretty good at knowing when people were trying to trap him or hurt him. You know, he did get caught up in the building, where it snagged him and stuff, and he had to shoot upside down, but, yeah.
Completely ignoring the impossible position he'd been put in and the slim chance of success even if he'd given her up, or why the intro feels the need to work in the subtle as a sledgehammer social pandering.
What you got there?
Bacon sandwiches.
Smells good.
Or the blatant sacrifice of morality and common sense in favour of my themes. Or this big old slab of beef that we're somehow supposed to identify with. There you go. Anyway, I digress.
That sex scene was horrible. Picard, he has the exact... When I saw that, I was like, oh my God. I should have did a reaction to it. So it probably would have went super viral. Oh my God. I was like, oh. See, when a woman jumps on steroids, it starts to transform her body. It starts to transform it from a woman's body to a man's body. So she starts to get the male features. Depending on her diet, her breasts disappear. And that's what was happening to Abby. Oh, God, I couldn't. Oh, my God, I can still see it. Yeah, their voice changes. It gets huskier. And watch a lot of those Brazilian models on Instagram. They all kind of talk like this. They got to sound like this. That's kind of in their voice. It's kind of raspy. You know what I mean? Hello, my name is Maria, Brazil. And today we're going to do 10 squats. 10 sets of squats, 30,000 reps. Let's get it. And it's like, why is her voice like that? But if you look how muscular she is, some of these girls are on Anavar. And that's a performance enhancing drug. And they tell you Anavar kind of like has the least effects, but it still deepens the voice and causes other things to happen with women. And so... I'll get Abby out of my head.
The thing is, Honeyed Infant now have carte blanche to come in and rewrite your new game in any way they see fit, because their word is basically law now. And because all they really care about is making themselves feel better by lecturing the rest of the world about social and political issues that specifically matter to them, they begin to make changes. Lots of changes. Got a legacy straight white male hero that's been hugely popular and the mainstay of your franchise for years? Well, clearly he needs to go in favour of someone more diverse and worthy, who we're going to take every possible opportunity to remind...
With that stupid Killmonger haircut, I cannot stand that every person with a little piece of melanin in their skin now, they give that haircut. I'm getting so irritated. I actually thought about getting it at one time. I really did. However, because I got so irritated with it, I decided not to. Maybe one day I'll go back to it. You know which one I'm gonna get? I'm gonna get the Prince of Persia one. I'm gonna get the Prince of Persia. I'm gonna get the tight fade. Grow all this out. I'm gonna get the Joan to the side. I'm gonna put I'm gonna put gold and shells in it and rings in it. I'm gonna look just like the Prince of Persia. Cut up. I already done lost like close to 30 pounds, y'all. All right. The God Man shall return soon.
behind the audience is better than straight white male hero in every possible way. But how exactly to get rid of him? Well, let's just say he's gone off to find himself because he got sad or something. You know, whatever. As long as he's out of the picture, that's all that really matters. Got a whole bunch of straight white male heroes to take care of? What the hell? Let's just kill them all in the most ignominious and disrespectful way possible and turn their deaths into a big old joke. Because truly, nothing's funnier than seeing iconic characters get murdered and then literally pissed on. But oh wait, one of the heroes is a woman. Well, that's a completely different story, don't you know? Honeyed Infant will make sure that her death is a solemn, poignant and heroic sacrifice. Because as we all know, death's only funny when it happens to men.
I still don't understand why it didn't kill him. I mean, that went straight into his heart. That was far enough in to pierce his heart, but he still lived. I don't care if Brainiac did something to him, enhanced him, or what, but the kryptonite pierced your skin. It pierced your breastbone, your heart. It shouldn't even be pumping your blood right now. Like, I don't know how he... Like, I can understand if his body, like, she realized he was enhanced, and all of a sudden you saw the body healing, and it pushed it out. Threw it, you know what I mean? Dropped on the floor. Tink, tink, tink. You know what I'm saying? That would have been, but whatever.
And of course, they'll be sure to pepper in random changes to the sexuality of established characters that have got no bearing on the story or their development as people, but that doesn't particularly matter because they say so.
Yeah, stop changing our favorite characters' sexuality, their race, their personalities fundamentally. Stop swapping out their sexes. Just leave them the way they are. Make new characters with all these things that you want involved. There are already characters like that, or you can make new ones. It's been like that for a while. Stop taking all the favorite characters and doing that. We don't want it. The fandom as a whole does not want it. Thank you, companies.
Got a bunch of attractive female characters in your game that appeal to your mostly male fan base? Nuts on their watch. If the women in your game don't look like they've taken a couple of dozen bee stings to the face and gone into anaphylactic shock, then you clearly need to re-examine your internal biases.
What the fuck is that?
Because as we all know, the reason that people like Sydney Sweeney are so popular right now is that we're all fascinated by her geopolitical takes on the current military situation in Ukraine. Man, it must be so satisfying as a developer to have spent months or even years carefully crafting every detail of the story and characters in your game, and then have experts like Honeyed Infant come in and completely rework it right under your nose. And what's even better is that you're not allowed to complain or object to any of it because you don't want to be the one guy in the room who goes against the message. But wait, there's a problem brewing, because when the game finally releases, it turns out that all of Honeyed Infant's changes weren't quite as popular as the terrified echo chamber planning sessions predicted. Sales are cratering, active users are plummeting, and people are demanding refunds in their thousands. All that extra revenue you were banking on has failed to materialise. It's almost as if people never wanted this stuff in the first place.
Am I so out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.
And not only are gamers up in arms about it, but they've also begun tracking other games that Honeyed Infant have worked on, and they've begun to notice a pattern. Almost everything they touch ends up being a worse product because of their input. But what to do? Do they allow it to blow over and get back to work? Do they reassess their philosophy on what customers want from their entertainment and try to produce better work in future? No, of course not. What they do instead is start an active campaign to silence and censor anyone who speaks out about them, which in turn fans the flames of controversy and attracts even more attention to the problem that they created. Because truly, if there's one strategy that always works in business, it's going to...
You know what killed me about that? The curator made that list based on the information that they provided on their own website. Wasn't like he was even lying.
Or with your own customer base. Just ask Disney. But now the truth is out, and what started out as a minor problem has turned into a national scandal that everyone on the internet is talking about, and suddenly there's talks of boycotts and protests and mass layoffs, and gamers everywhere are actively rebelling against the message and anything that companies like Honeyed Infant have touched. And now you're probably wishing that you'd run a tighter ship, spent your money more wisely, and hired actual talented people to work on your games instead of activists
I could just see myself being the head or just being part of a board meeting that's in charge. And I I would be, if I was at the top like that, I would make sure I understood what was going on with the fandom and with, you know, and I would, if this was presented to me, I'm like, no. All these companies are being destroyed right now. All of our games have already been diverse, have been inclusive for years. This is some type of political thing that they're pushing right now, and it's a narrative that they're actually pushing the wrong way. We've already been inclusive. We've already been diverse. We've already had equity. We want to continue to make good games, and I will not change or shift the direction of this company for some politics that's going on out there. I refuse to be part of it. What are we supposed to be doing? Right, making good games, not worrying about this stuff.
Grading as industry consultants. But hey, it's not like any of this stuff could actually happen for real.
Right?
Could it? Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Good job. Good job, sir. Good job. Get over to the drinker and subscribe. Tell them Tyrone Magnus sent you. And if you enjoyed what I had to say, my reaction, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and share. And I will see you in the next video.